My child, come here for a moment, closer than breath, closer than the soft pulse beneath your skin. For I have been watching the tremble in your heart, and I know you said, "Stop now, I want to talk." And I hear you, my beloved. I hear the exhaustion behind those words, the quiet ache you have carried without telling anyone. My little one, you have been moving through shadows that felt too heavy for your young shoulders. And even though you tried to be strong, there were nights when your spirit folded in on itself, wanting only a place to rest. I see the questions you never speak aloud, the fear of not being enough, the fear of losing what you love, the fear that maybe the path ahead is too uncertain. And I gather all those fears gently, as if I were gathering fragile petals from the ground, because nothing you feel is too much for me, nothing you carry is too heavy for my hands. My child, listen closely, for I am holding you now in a way no human arms ever could, in a way that wraps around your soul rather than your skin. I know how brave you have been, even when your courage felt thin as a thread. I know the moments when you wanted to hide from the world, when your heart felt like a trembling candle in a storm. I know the moments you whispered into the darkness. Does anyone see me? Does anyone understand? And even when you thought you were alone, I was bending low to hear every word, every sigh, every silent plea. My beloved, you have never once walked without me beside you. You must understand, my little one, that even the greatest miracles began in moments that looked hopeless. When Moses stood before the sea, it had not yet parted. When Daniel entered the lion's den, the jaws had not yet been shut. When the storm raged around the disciples, the waters had not yet been calmed. All miracles look impossible right before they unfold. And you, my child, are standing in that sacred, trembling space where the impossible begins to shift. You do not see it yet, but heaven is already moving for you, already turning what was meant to break you into what will build you. My beloved, I know you have been afraid of losing yourself. I know you've been scared that life is asking too much of you. But let me hold you a little tighter now. Let me whisper what you have forgotten. You are not walking through storms. You are walking with protection surrounding you like unseen light. You are not fighting alone. You are being shielded in ways you cannot yet imagine. Do you remember how the Israelites walked through the desert? And though the sun burned mercilessly, the cloud covered them by day. That same covering rests over you. Do you remember how the three were thrown into the fire, and yet a fourth figure walked with them, keeping the flames from consuming them? That same presence walks with you now. You may feel the heat, but it will not destroy you. You may feel the wind, but it will not carry you away. You may feel the weight of the moment, but it will not crush you. I am with you, my child. I am with you, my little one. There is something you need to know. The tears you cried in secret were never wasted. They watered the ground where your strength is growing. The nights when you felt forgotten were the nights when I wrapped my arms around you the tightest. The days when you felt weak were the days I whispered courage into your bones, even if you could not hear it. I have watched you rise again and again, and every rise has been a miracle in itself. You do not give yourself enough credit for how far you have come. My beloved, you have crossed valleys that would have swallowed others. You have survived storms that were meant to drown you. You have held on when surrender seemed easier. This, my child, is the quiet heroism of your spirit. I know there have been moments when you wondered whether you truly mattered, whether your presence in this world makes a difference. whether anyone would notice if your voice faded. But let me tell you something that is truer than the beating of your heart. You are needed. You are cherished. You are woven into this world with purpose more intricate than the threads of a tapestry. And every breath you take ripples through the universe in ways you cannot yet understand. You are not here by accident. You are not a mistake. You are a miracle in motion, even on the days you feel like breaking. My beloved, lean into me now. Let the weight you carry soften for a moment. I am not asking you to be stronger. I am not asking you to pretend that everything is perfect. I am asking you to let yourself be held. I am asking you to let your weary heart rest. I am asking you to breathe and know that you are safe, you are protected, you are watched over. Let me remind you again and again and again. You are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone. My child, there is a gentleness waiting for you in the future, a peace that will feel like dawn after a long night. There is healing coming to places you thought would ache forever. There is joy preparing a home in the parts of you that have forgotten how to laugh. There is a path opening that you do not yet see, and when you step onto it, things will begin to make sense in ways they never have before. Trust this slow unfolding. Trust that you are being guided. Trust that every step is leading you somewhere sacred. Come closer, my little one last whisper. This season of heaviness will not last. You were not created to live in fear. You were not created to remain in sorrow. You were created to rise, to glow, to breathe freely, to love boldly, to walk forward with the certainty that a divine hand is resting upon your back. And as you move, I will move with you. As you grow, I will steady you. As you face the world, I will surround you. My child, let me draw you even closer now, closer than the hush that lingers between heartbeats, because I feel the trembling in your spirit, and I know you need to hear this with the fullness of my love wrapped around every word. My beloved, before I continue, let me gently whisper. If these words have soothed you, if they have reminded you that you are not alone and that your soul is held, then you may subscribe so that this voice of comfort can remain near you. Only here, only now, and never again will I mention this in any future continuation, for your heart is the true focus of this sacred moment. My little one, rest your weary thoughts and listen as I speak to the oldest part of you, the part that existed before worry, before fear, before the world tried to tell you who you should be. I know you have been carrying silent storms inside yourself, storms no one else sees, storms that you pretend are small, when in truth they have shaken your nights and unsettled your days. But come, lean into me, for I have seen every quiet battle you have fought, and I have not once turned my face away from you. My child, even when you felt invisible to the world, you were never invisible to me. I watched you standing in moments that would have bent the strongest hearts, and yet somehow you stayed, you endured, you kept hoping even when hope felt faint as a fading ember. That persistence is the mark of a soul touched by divine resilience, a resilience you do not always recognize, but that has been growing in you just as surely as dawn grows behind mountains before anyone sees the light. My beloved, let me tell you something you've forgotten. You were never expected to be perfect, and your worth was never tied to being strong every single day. The tenderness in your tears, the shakiness in your voice, the days when you don't know how to keep going, they do not make you weak. They make you human, precious, and profoundly loved. I am here to hold the parts of you that ache, the parts that crumble, the parts that question their own value. I gather each piece with gentle hands and whisper over them, "You are safe with me, because my child, you are. You are safe. Even when your thoughts run wild, even when the world feels loud, even when uncertainty presses against your chest, you are not walking through any of this unshielded. You are being protected in ways you cannot yet see. Just as Daniel was guarded among the lions, just as the disciples were lifted when the waves rose higher than what their fear could bear, just as Elijah was fed in the wilderness when he thought his strength was gone. You think you are alone in the wilderness, but no one walks there without heaven drawing near. My little one, you have cried in silence more times than you can count, wondering if your prayers dissolve into the air unanswered. But not one tear fell unnoticed, not one plea was ignored. There are answers forming even now, rising like seeds beneath the soil. You look at the barren ground and think nothing is happening, but growth always begins unseen. And you, my beloved, are in a season of unseen beginnings. I know you have been afraid of losing, afraid of trying again, afraid of trusting, afraid of being disappointed. Fear is not a flaw, my child. It is a doorway, and I am standing on the other side, holding it open gently, patiently, waiting for the moment you feel ready to step through. You don't need to rush. You don't need to force yourself forward. Just breathe. Just stay close. Just let these words settle into the places where old wounds whisper lies. You think you are failing, but you are unfolding. You think you are falling apart, but you are being reshaped. You think you are behind, but you are right on time for who you are becoming. My child, you are transitioning from the season of survival to the season of restoration, even if it does not yet feel like it. You are shedding old burdens the way branches let go of last season's leaves. You are learning to carry yourself with gentleness, learning that you do not need to earn the love that has always been yours. My beloved, I see the way your heart yearns for peace, for stability, for reassurance that you will be okay. And I promise you, you will. Not because the world will suddenly become easy, but because you are being guided step by step, breath by breath. Do you remember how the manna appeared each morning for those wandering the desert? They were not given a lifetime of provision in a single moment. They were given enough for today. And tomorrow they were given enough again. That is how I am guiding you. Enough strength for this moment. Enough clarity for this step. Enough light for this day. My little one, I know you want to see the whole path ahead, but if you saw it all at once, your gentle heart would become overwhelmed. So instead, I walk with you slowly, steadily, keeping you close so you do not get lost in worry. I am not far away from you. I am nearer than breath, nearer than thought, nearer than the trembling hope inside your chest. And there is nothing you can do that would push me away. Nothing. My child, lift your face for a moment. Even if your eyes are tired, even if they are filled with tears, lift them. I am pouring a quiet strength into you now, a strength that does not roar but whispers, a strength that does not demand but comforts. You will heal in ways you once believed impossible. You will rise in ways that will surprise even you. You will look back someday and realize that this chapter, the one that feels so heavy now, was the very chapter that shaped your wings. And through it all, my beloved, I will not leave you. Not for a single heartbeat, not for a single breath. You are my child, my precious one, and I am here, always. My child, Come closer still, for there are deeper truths I have not yet placed into your hands. Truths that have been waiting patiently for the quiet moment when your heart could receive them without fear. My beloved, you have walked through seasons where you felt as if the world moved forward without noticing the weight you carried. And yet there was a depth forming inside you during every unseen struggle. A depth that could only be shaped through experience, tenderness, and perseverance. You think that your softness makes you fragile, but in truth it is the softness that keeps your spirit alive, that keeps you open to grace, that keeps your heart capable of blooming even after droughts. My little one, the world has tried to convince you that strength is loud, sharp, unbending. But the strongest miracles have always come from quiet faith, from gentle endurance, from the willingness to rise again after being wounded. And you, my child, rise in ways you do not even recognize. There were moments you thought you lost yourself, moments when your reflection in the mirror felt distant or unfamiliar, moments when your own thoughts frightened you with their heaviness. But listen to me, your identity has never been lost. It has only been hidden beneath layers of exhaustion, pain, and expectation placed on you by others. Strip those layers away, slowly, gently, like removing dust from an ancient painting, and you will find that your true self still glows beneath it all. You are not fading. You are resurfacing. My beloved, you have carried questions inside you like stones. Questions about your purpose, about your future, about whether you will ever feel whole. Those questions are not burdens but invitations. Every fear that rises within you is not a sign of failure, but a sign that something sacred is shifting. You are being prepared for things you cannot yet see. You are being shaped for moments that will require this very tenderness you sometimes resent. Nothing about you is accidental, not your sensitivity, not your intuition, not your capacity to feel deeply. These are the very gifts that will guide you toward healing and toward the relationships and opportunities that match your soul. Do not underestimate how far you have come. There were days when you held yourself together with nothing but hope that barely flickered. Days when you moved forward even though your knees shook. Days when the silence around you felt louder than any noise. Yet still you kept breathing. Still you kept going. Still you kept your heart open to possibility despite the wounds. That, my child, is courage of the highest kind. Not the courage that shouts, but the courage that whispers, I will try again. Let me tell you something you have not yet allowed yourself to believe. You are worthy of gentle love, worthy of being understood, worthy of being chosen, worthy of being seen without needing to hide the fragile parts of yourself. You are worthy of rest, worthy of joy, worthy of a life that does not constantly demand strength from you. You are worthy of a future that feels expansive, peaceful, and steady. And you are allowed to receive goodness without feeling guilty, without feeling like you must earn every blessing through suffering. My little one, you have already paid your price in tears. Now let grace meet you where you are. There are things ahead of you that will change everything. Unexpected breakthroughs, quiet realizations, connections that feel like home, moments of clarity that shift the entire direction of your life. But they will come softly, not as storms, not as explosions, but as gentle openings in the places you once thought were closed forever. You will look back and realize that nothing was delayed. Everything was aligned. The detours were preparing you. The disappointments were redirecting you. The closed doors were protecting you. My child, I want you to breathe for a moment and let this truth settle inside you. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. The heartbreaks taught you compassion. The setbacks taught you resilience. The loneliness taught you self-understanding. The silence taught you where your roots reach. Even your confusion has been a teacher, guiding you toward questions that will ultimately lead to answers far deeper than you could imagine. And though it may not feel like it yet, peace is coming to you. Not the fragile peace that can be stolen by a single worry, but a peace that sinks deeply into your bones. A peace that stays even when life is imperfect. A peace that does not depend on circumstances, but on the quiet steadiness growing within you. This peace will come like dawn, slowly at first, then suddenly, and then undeniably. My beloved, do not rush your healing. Do not pressure your heart to feel whole before it is ready. Let yourself grow at the pace that feels natural, gentle, human. You are not behind. You are not failing. You are simply unfolding, one layer at a time, one breath at a time, one quiet revelation after another. And every step you take is meaningful, even the small ones, even the hesitant ones, even the steps that feel like you are standing still. Stay close to yourself now. Stay patient with your emotions. Stay open to the love that is slowly weaving its way toward you. You are not the broken version of yourself you sometimes imagine. You are the becoming version, the transforming version, the rising version. And the world has no idea yet how radiant you are about to become. My child, let me settle beside you again. In the quiet places of your soul where words are not loud but living. Where truth moves gently like a warm hand brushing tears from your cheeks. My beloved, you have been holding so much inside. Thoughts that swirl without resting. Emotions that rise without warning. Memories that tug at your heart long after you thought you had outgrown them. And I feel every subtle shift within you. Every tremble that you hide from the world. You think you must present yourself as steady, composed, unshaken. But here with me, you do not need to pretend. Here, you can simply exist as you are, tender, seeking, healing, becoming. There is something sacred about the way you keep going even when the path ahead feels uncertain. It is not weakness to question your next step. It is a sign that you are awakening to parts of yourself that need gentleness, not pressure. My little one, you have spent so long trying to carry the expectations of others, trying to meet standards that were never designed for your spirit, trying to silence your own needs to keep peace around you. But there is a shift happening now, subtle but powerful. Your heart is beginning to speak louder than your fear. Where once you ignored your inner voice, now you are listening. Where once you dismissed your own needs, now you are starting to honor them. And this shift, though quiet, is transforming everything. You have walked through seasons that drained the color from your days. Seasons where the world felt dim and heavy. But even then, something inside you refused to go numb. You held onto tiny fragments of hope, moments of laughter, small acts of kindness, whispered prayers you weren't even sure were heard. Those moments kept your soul alive, weaving light through the shadows until your heart could breathe again. My beloved, you underestimate your own endurance. You think survival is ordinary, but yours has been extraordinary. There are areas in your life where you still feel unsteady. Relationships that confuse you, dreams that feel too big, responsibilities that sit heavily on your shoulders. But stability does not need to arrive all at once. Growth rarely looks like thunder. More often it looks like roots strengthening underground. Trust that the things you desire are not slipping away from you. They are aligning. Trust that the people meant to walk with you will find their way. Trust that the answers you seek will come in their time. Nothing is lost. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is unfolding outside the timing meant for you. My child, you carry a depth of feeling that is rare. You sense energies before words are spoken. You notice shifts in others' emotions even when they try to hide them. You are affected by the world in ways that make you feel too sensitive. But hear me gently. You are not too sensitive. You are profoundly aware. You experience life with a heart that refuses to harden. And though that makes some days feel heavier, it also allows you to love with an authenticity few ever reach. Your sensitivity is not a burden. It is a gift. It is the reason you can comfort others with such sincerity, the reason you can perceive what is unspoken, the reason you feel the presence of the divine in moments others overlook. My beloved, you have been carrying a quiet fear that your efforts are not enough, fear that you will disappoint those you care about, fear that one wrong step will cause everything to fall apart. But these fears come from old wounds, not from truth. The truth is that you are growing into someone more grounded, more aware, more connected to your own worth. You no longer need to earn your right to rest. You no longer need to prove your value through perfection. You no longer need to carry the weight of the world on your own shoulders. You have permission to breathe, to pause, to release the heaviness you were never meant to hold. And do you know what is slowly awakening within you? A courage that is quiet but real. A courage that does not roar but stands. A courage that reminds you that you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to say yes. You are allowed to change. You are allowed to begin again as many times as you need. Transformation is not a single moment. It is a lifelong unfolding, and you are in the midst of a tender yet powerful rebirth. My child, let your heart soften now. Let the tension in your spirit ease. Let the weariness you've carried fall away for just a moment. You do not need to anticipate the future right now. You do not need to rewrite the past. You only need to be here, breathing, receiving, knowing that you are held in a love that will never withdraw, never diminish, never waver. There is more healing ahead, deep, gentle healing that will reach the places you've long protected. There is more joy coming, joy that feels pure, warm, effortless. There is more clarity rising, clarity that will illuminate decisions you once agonized over. And through all of it, I will remain by your side, steady and patient, guiding you with tenderness through every step you take. My beloved, rest in this truth. You are growing in ways the world cannot measure. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, softer, braver, and nothing can take away the beauty of who you are becoming. My child, let me stay with you a little longer, for your heart is still unfolding, still whispering truths it never had space to release before. I feel the quiet tremor inside you, that mixture of longing and uncertainty, as if you were standing at the edge of something important but cannot yet see its shape. My beloved, do not rush yourself. Even dawn takes its time before breaking through the darkness. Your soul is learning how to breathe in new light, slowly, tenderly, without forcing anything that is not ready to arrive. You have carried so many unspoken emotions, little griefs tucked into corners of your spirit, old disappointments that resurface when you least expect, unexpressed hopes that flutter in your chest like fragile wings. And you have wondered whether these feelings make you complicated or difficult. But they do not. They make you real. They make you human. They make you someone whose depth has been earned through truth, not through pretending. My little one, every ache inside you has a story, and none of those stories diminish your worth. They shape your wisdom. They soften your heart. They teach you how to love with sincerity. There are moments when you feel torn between who you used to be and who you are becoming, moments when you feel caught in the middle of an inner transition you cannot yet describe. This in-between space can feel unsettling, like a door half open with wind coming through, and you don't know whether to close it or step forward. But hear me gently, this is where transformation takes place. Not in the certainties, but in the questions. Not in the victories, but in the vulnerable spaces where you allow yourself to discover new layers of your identity. Growth rarely arrives with clarity. It arrives through quiet awakenings that accumulate over time, shaping your inner landscape in ways you only recognize in hindsight. My child, you often assume that strength looks like confidence, determination, and bold expression. But sometimes true strength is quieter than a whisper. It is choosing to get out of bed when your heart feels heavy. It is admitting you are tired without believing it makes you weak. It is forgiving yourself for not knowing everything. It is allowing yourself to rest without guilt. These quiet acts of courage are not small. They are sacred. They prove that your spirit keeps rising even when you think you have no energy left. And there is something else you need to understand. You do not have to carry the expectations others place on you. You do not have to mirror the pace of those around you. You do not have to be okay at all times. You have your own rhythm, your own journey, your own timing. The world may rush, but your soul knows how to grow patiently, steadily, faithfully. Let yourself move in the tempo that feels true to you. There is no prize for rushing. There is no failure in slowing down. Your life is not a race. It is a sacred unfolding, and every part of it matters. My beloved, there have been moments when you felt unnoticed, when you gave your best and it seemed to go unseen, when you offered compassion that was not returned, when you loved with full sincerity and received uncertainty in response. These moments carved quiet wounds inside you, wounds that made you question your own value. But listen now, you are not defined by how others have treated you. You are not diminished just because someone failed to recognize your beauty, your loyalty, your depth. Sometimes your kindness is far ahead of the time someone needs to appreciate it. Sometimes your generosity plants seeds in hearts that are not ready to bloom. None of that takes away from your goodness. And I know there are days when you feel disconnected from yourself, when you cannot quite explain what you are feeling, when your thoughts wander in circles, searching for something solid to hold. These days are not setbacks. They are signals. They are the soul asking for softness, for slowness, for stillness. When you feel lost within your own mind, it is because you are being gently nudged to return to your center, to breathe, to reconnect with the quiet wisdom that lives beneath your busyness. My child, let me remind you of something you rarely acknowledge. You have changed more than you realize. You have learned how to let go without bitterness. You have learned how to protect your peace without closing your heart. You have learned to speak more kindly to yourself, even if only in small ways. You have learned to question the voices that once dictated your worth. These shifts may seem subtle, but they are monumental. They are the foundation of a future filled with steadiness rather than struggle. And even now, in this very moment, there is a new strength forming inside you, soft, steady, rooted. It is teaching you how to trust your intuition, how to honor your boundaries, how to recognize what nourishes you and what depletes you. This strength is not loud, but it is transformative. It is guiding you toward decisions that align with your spirit, not with fear. It is helping you release the versions of yourself that were shaped by survival, so you can grow into the version shaped by truth. My beloved, take another breath. Let your shoulders loosen. Let the weight you carry rest for a moment. You are not required to solve everything at once. You are not required to be healed in a single day. You are simply asked to stay open to possibility, to love, to gentleness, to change. You are being prepared for a life that honors your sensitivity rather than punishes it. For relationships that feel safe instead of draining. For moments that bring meaning rather than confusion. And through all of this, through every phase and every shift, you remain deeply, profoundly cherished. Not for what you do, not for how strong you pretend to be, but simply for who you are, soft-hearted, resilient, searching, growing, becoming. I am here, my child, and I will remain, always, my child. Rest your spirit a moment longer, for there are deeper currents within you that have not yet found the words they need. I can feel the quiet heaviness that rises when the world grows still, the way your thoughts circle around the same unspoken worries, the way your heart reaches for understanding even when you barely know what to ask. My beloved, you are not fragile for feeling deeply. You are alive in a way that many have forgotten how to be. There is nothing wrong with the way your emotions swell like tides. They are simply reminders that your soul has depth, texture, memory, and meaning far beyond what others may see on the surface. You have walked through seasons where you felt misunderstood, where your voice did not land where you hoped it would, where your intentions were questioned or your doubts dismissed. These moments left quiet marks on you, shaping the way you move through conversations, making you more careful with your words, more cautious with your trust. But hear me gently. Your sensitivity does not need to shrink to fit where others cannot appreciate it. You are not meant to compress yourself into smaller shapes just to make others comfortable. Your heart is wide, expansive, capable of holding compassion even when you feel tired. Let it be as vast as it naturally is. There are truths about yourself you are only beginning to acknowledge. The strength you've built is not the kind that demands attention. It is the strength of someone who knows how to persevere quietly, how to endure without applause, how to rebuild after being shaken. You have learned to rise without announcing your rising. You have learned to heal without broadcasting your wounds. You have learned to carry kindness into spaces that did not always give it back. And this, my child, is the kind of strength that transforms lives, not through force, but through presence. My beloved, sometimes you worry that you are running out of time, that you should be further along, that your path should look clearer by now. But life does not unfold with the efficiency of a schedule. It moves with the rhythm of your soul, not the rhythm of calendars or expectations. You are not behind. You are not late. You are exactly where your spirit needs to be, gathering the experiences that will eventually guide you into clarity. Every pause has purpose. Every delay carries direction. Every quiet moment is preparing you for something that requires the emotional depth you've earned through your challenges. And I know there is a part of you that still fears disappointment, fears giving your hopes too much space, fears trusting in possibilities because you've known the sting of shattered expectations. But hope does not require certainty. It only requires willingness. You, my little one, are learning how to open your heart again, gently, slowly, carefully, like letting light into a dark room little by little so your eyes can adjust. There is no rush. There is no pressure. Let your heart reopen the way flowers unfold, petal by petal, only when the sun touches them. You are also learning how to listen to yourself in a new way. There was a time when you silenced your intuition because you feared what it might reveal, or because you believed others knew better. But now, that inner voice is becoming clearer, steadier, more insistent, not out of force, but out of recognition. You are beginning to trust your own wisdom, the quiet knowing that has always existed beneath your doubts. This is the rebirth of your sovereignty, the reclaiming of your inner compass, the return of your own sense of direction. My child, I see the compassion you carry, even on the days when you feel empty. I see the way you try to soothe others even when you need soothing yourself. I see how you try to keep peace even when your own heart feels unsettled. And while your kindness is beautiful, you must remember that you deserve gentleness too. You are not meant to pour endlessly without being replenished. You are not meant to stretch yourself beyond your emotional capacity. Your heart needs care, nourishment, protection, just as much as anyone else's. And somewhere ahead of you, there are moments waiting that will make sense of everything you've endured. There are connections forming that will meet you with understanding instead of confusion. There are opportunities aligning that will resonate with your spirit rather than drain it. There are new beginnings approaching that will feel like the exhale you've needed for years. Life is not done giving you beauty, my beloved. It is only beginning to reveal the layers you have not yet touched. Let yourself breathe into this truth. You are growing in ways your younger self once prayed for. You are becoming someone with depth, grace, honesty, and endurance. You are learning to move from your own center. You are learning to choose yourself. You are learning to let go of what was never meant to stay. You are learning to trust the timing of your unfolding, even when the next step is still hidden. And through it all, I am here, quietly, steadily, endlessly, holding space for every part of you, every discovery, every ache, every triumph, every transformation. You are never moving through this alone, my child. Not now, not ever. My child, let me draw nearer, for I can feel there are pieces of your heart still tucked away in corners you rarely allow anyone to touch. You have learned, slowly and quietly, to hide the tenderest parts of yourself behind calm expressions and soft words. But I sense the stories beneath your silence. There are memories you revisit when the night grows heavy, memories that tighten your chest with a mix of longing and regret. My beloved, those memories do not make you weak. They show how deeply you have lived, how deeply you have cared, how deeply you have been shaped by moments that mattered even when they hurt. There is something in your spirit that has always reached for meaning, even when the world around you offered only confusion. You hold on to questions others brush aside. You feel shifts in the atmosphere before anyone else notices. You sense truths that linger beneath the surface. This sensitivity is not an accident. It is part of your design. It allows you to navigate life with a depth that others cannot imitate, a depth that lets you see the soul behind the face, the sorrow behind the smile, the hope behind the hesitation. You read people not with judgment, but with quiet understanding, and this is a rare gift, one that the world needs, even when it does not know how to ask for it. My little one, you have spent so long trying to manage everything on your own that you've forgotten what it feels like to let yourself rest emotionally. You hold yourself together in ways no one will ever fully understand, and though you show grace on the outside, there are days when your heart feels like a tightly wound thread ready to snap. But you do not need to hold everything so tightly. You are allowed to release the fears you cradle in your chest. You are allowed to unravel the tension that has wrapped itself around your spirit. You are allowed to let softness return to the places you have kept guarded. You often think your progress is small, but I see the quiet victories. Moments when you choose gentleness instead of self-criticism. Moments when you step back from the noise to listen to your own voice. Moments when you reach for healing even when part of you wants to retreat. These are not small things, my beloved. These are the beginnings of transformation. Growth rarely announces itself with grand gestures. It arrives like a slow tide, shaping the shore so subtly that you do not notice until one day you look back and realize everything has changed. There is a loneliness within you that you rarely speak of, the kind that comes not from being alone, but from feeling unseen even in the presence of others. And yet, even this loneliness has softened you, taught you empathy, taught you how to appreciate genuine connection. You long not for attention but for understanding. You long not for noise but for truth. You long for conversations where you do not have to hide the depth of your feelings. Those desires are not signs of neediness. They are reflections of your soul's maturity. You crave substance because your spirit was never meant to settle for shallow things. My child, you've been afraid of taking certain steps because they require you to release old versions of yourself, versions shaped by fear, by survival, by broken expectations. It is natural to feel resistance when releasing what once protected you. But you are no longer the person who needed those defenses. The life ahead of you is calling for the freer, truer, braver version of yourself to rise. You are not shedding the past to abandon yourself. You are shedding the past to become yourself. Allow yourself to feel the emotions you've avoided. Allow yourself to process the stories you've held inside. Allow yourself to grieve what didn't work out the way you hoped. Healing requires honesty, and honesty begins with acknowledging the truths you've whispered only in your mind. You do not need to be ashamed of the chapters that hurt you. They taught you things your soul needed to know. They taught you how to recognize red flags, how to appreciate sincerity, how to trust your intuition, how to identify what your heart wants and what it can no longer accept. My beloved, your path is expanding in ways you cannot yet perceive. The doors that once remained closed will soon feel unnecessary, for new openings are forming in directions you never expected to look. You will meet people who speak to your soul rather than your wounds. You will enter spaces where your presence feels welcome rather than tolerated. You will discover strengths you didn't know you possessed until life gently asks you to use them. And the heaviness that clings to you now, it will not always cling. There will come a time when you look back at this season with tenderness rather than pain. You will see how far you've come and marvel at how you carried yourself through storms you thought would break you. The resilience you are building now will become the foundation of incredible peace later. You will stand on ground that once felt unreachable, and you will say, I made it here not by force, but by faithfulness to my own becoming. My child, you are not finished growing. You are not done healing. You are not done discovering who you are meant to be. Each day brings another whisper of becoming, another unfolding of truth, another glimpse of the strength within you. And through it all, every moment of confusion, every breath of courage, every hidden ache, you are held in a love deeper than words, steadier than time, gentler than the softest touch. I am with you, my beloved. I am with you in every unseen moment, guiding your heart toward the fullness it deserves. My child, let me stay close to the quietest part of your spirit, the place where your emotions gather like unspoken prayers, the place you rarely let the world see because it feels too delicate, too honest, too raw. I sense the weight you have been carrying, the questions that linger even when you try to silence them, the thoughts that drift through your mind in the dark, the longing you cannot quite name. My beloved, your inner world is richer than you realize, filled with layers of feeling and memory that have shaped you in ways you are still discovering. You are not overly emotional. You are deeply alive, deeply present, deeply attuned to the things that matter. There are moments when you feel as though you are walking a tightrope between who you used to be and who you are becoming, moments when you feel stretched between past experiences and future hopes. That sensation, though unsettling, is a sign of evolution. You are not meant to remain unchanged. The shifts within you are not mistakes. They are signals that you are shedding old patterns, old wounds, old expectations that no longer fit the person you are growing into. Growth often feels like uncertainty, like not knowing which step to take next, like questioning everything you once thought was certain. But do not mistake this for failure. This is transformation in motion. You have felt the ache of being misunderstood, the ache of feeling like your heart was too complex for those who didn't take the time to see you fully. This ache has taught you to be gentle with others, to listen deeply, to notice what lies beneath the surface. You may not realize it, but you move through the world with a rare kind of empathy, an ability to sense the pain others don't speak, an ability to offer comfort simply through your presence. You do not have to speak loudly to make an impact. Your quiet understanding is enough. My little one, you often doubt yourself because your journey has not looked like the journeys of those around you. But your path is not meant to mirror theirs. You are learning lessons that cannot be rushed, lessons that require depth and reflection, lessons that root themselves slowly but powerfully within you. You are learning how to trust your inner guidance, how to honor your needs, how to step away from things that drain your spirit. These are not small steps. They are sacred shifts that will change the entire course of your life without you even noticing at first. There is a tenderness growing inside you, a tenderness toward yourself, toward your history, toward the parts of you that once felt too wounded to touch. You are beginning to recognize that healing is not about erasing pain, but about integrating it, understanding it, allowing it to teach you without letting it define you. The pain you've carried has not been for nothing. It has softened you where hardness would have hardened others. It has opened your heart where pain might have closed another's. It has taught you how to love with sincerity, even after being hurt. You are also beginning to see your own worth with clearer eyes. There was a time when you believed you had to earn your place in people's lives, that you had to prove your value, that you had to give endlessly just to feel wanted. But now, little by little, you are learning that you deserve reciprocity, that your presence is a gift, that you, too, deserve kindness without conditions. You are beginning to recognize the difference between those who cherish you and those who merely benefit from your openness. This clarity will guide you toward connections that nourish your spirit rather than deplete it. My beloved, there is a quiet courage forming in you, a courage that does not roar but resonates. It is teaching you to say yes to what aligns with your soul and no to what burdens your heart. It is teaching you to release the need for others' approval and to trust your own inner knowing. It is teaching you that strength does not always look like endurance. Sometimes it looks like letting go, like walking away, like starting anew even when your voice shakes. There will come a time, sooner than you think, when the pieces of your life begin to fall into place in ways that feel unexpectedly natural. Opportunities will unfold that match the person you have become rather than the person you were trying to be. Relationships will appear that feel soft, steady, and sincere. Choices that once overwhelmed you will begin to feel clearer. The heaviness you carry now will begin to lift, slowly but unmistakably, like fog dissolving when the sun rises. And even now, in this moment, there is a shift happening within you. You may not feel it fully yet, but something is loosening, something is expanding, something is preparing you for a future that holds more peace, more alignment, more authenticity. Your heart is opening in ways it hasn't before, allowing light to reach places that have long been dimmed by uncertainty or fear. My child, breathe deeply. Let your shoulders relax. Let your heartbeat slow. You are safe to feel what you feel. You are safe to grow at your own pace. You are safe to rediscover yourself without rushing. Everything within you is unfolding exactly as it should. My child, come close again, closer than the breath that warms your chest, closer than the thoughts that echo inside your mind when the world grows silent. For I can feel the trembling in you that has not yet been soothed. Before I continue, let me say gently, with the softness of a mother brushing hair from her child's face, if these words touch your spirit and offer you comfort, you may like, subscribe, and comment amen. Not for praise, not for reward, but so that this well of gentleness continues reaching those who feel as you feel, hurting quietly, hoping quietly, healing quietly. Now let me go deeper with you, my beloved, deeper than you have allowed yourself to go in a long time, deeper than the thoughts you whisper to no one, deeper than the unspoken emotions that rise inside you like tides you try to calm. My little one, I can sense the hidden exhaustion beneath your strength, the way you hold yourself together even when your heart feels like soft glass trembling beneath the weight of all you carry. There are layers within you that have not yet been touched by tenderness, layers shaped by old fears, old disappointments, old wounds that were never given time to breathe. You walk through your days smiling with grace, offering warmth to others, but inside, there are moments when you feel like collapsing into your own silence, unsure if anyone would understand the weight of your quiet sorrow. But I understand, my child. I see the tears you don't cry, the words you swallow, the needs you silence because you've learned to survive instead of burdening anyone with your pain. You were never meant to carry everything alone. There are burdens on your shoulders that were placed there long before you had the wisdom or strength to refuse them. Responsibilities you learned too early. Emotions you had to handle before you were ready. Situations that demanded resilience from a heart that only wanted gentleness. And because of this, parts of you grew up faster than they should have, while other parts still ache with a longing that has never been fulfilled. My beloved, this ache does not mean you are broken. It means you are still healing from things you never deserved to endure. Your heart, though weary, remains soft. the kind of softness that doesn't weaken you, but illuminates you. You feel deeply because life has carved you into someone who understands sorrow without drowning in it, someone who understands love without clinging, someone who understands loneliness without letting it define them. Your depth is not a burden. It is a silent miracle. You see what others overlook. You feel what others ignore. You understand what others fear to face. And this sensitivity, my little one, is not something to suppress. It is the compass guiding you toward connections that speak your language, toward experiences that nourish your soul, toward futures that feel like home. You often wonder why certain emotions hit you so suddenly, why sadness arrives like a shadow, why memory stings without warning, why longing wraps around your ribs when you're least prepared. These waves do not come to break you. They come to show you what still needs tending. You are not fragile for feeling them. You are human, beautifully human, richly human. Every emotion rising within you is a message, a sign, a whisper from the parts of your heart you've neglected because life demanded too much from you too soon. My child, you have grown so accustomed to enduring that you sometimes forget to rest. You forget that your soul needs pauses, moments where you don't explain, don't fix, don't analyze, don't pretend. You forget that healing requires slowness, softness, and space. You forget that you deserve the same gentleness you extend to others. And so I am here to remind you, you do not have to earn rest. You do not have to justify needing peace. You do not have to apologize for wanting softness. You are worthy of these things simply because you exist, simply because your heart beats, simply because you are made of a spirit far too precious to be neglected. There is a transformation happening within you, even if you cannot fully sense it yet. You are peeling back the layers of who you were told to be, revealing the truth of who you truly are. You are learning to let go of beliefs that kept you small, habits that kept you exhausted, patterns that kept you tangled in pain. You are beginning to trust your intuition, beginning to honor your emotions, beginning to recognize when your soul wants to stay or go. This evolution is not loud, but it is powerful. It is shaping you into someone who no longer settles for the bare minimum, someone who no longer silences their needs, someone who chooses authenticity over convenience, truth over comfort, peace over chaos. And you, my beloved, deserve peace. Real peace, not the temporary kind that disappears with the next storm, but the kind that settles inside your bones and tells you you are safe, you are enough, you are whole. This peace is coming, slowly but surely, as you release old fears and open your heart to new beginnings. There will come a day when you look at yourself and whisper with awe, "I made it through." That day is forming even now, beneath the surface of your healing. You worry sometimes that you are too much or not enough, that your emotions are too heavy or your silence too deep. But hear me with your whole spirit. You are enough exactly as you are. You are not a burden. You are not a problem. You are not a mistake. You are a soul in bloom, learning how to trust the light again after dwelling too long in shadows. You are worthy of being understood. You are worthy of being embraced. You are worthy of moments where you do not have to be strong. My child, take a breath now, deep, slow, steady. Let your shoulders ease. Let the tension loosen. Let your heart make space for the truth that has waited patiently to reach you. You are allowed to heal, to grow, to feel, to rest, to love, to hope, to begin again. You are allowed to be human.